You know what it is, your host Maloney, another episode of On Toronto Time, Breaking Records Radio. And right now we got a legendary guest in the building. We got, probably the pioneer of Toronto podcasting, hip-hop podcasting in the city. We got the one and only Friday.
Yo, 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 yo.
We love hip-hop. How's it going, my man?
It's going blessed, man. You know what I'm saying? As Charlemagne says, blessed, black, and highly favored, man.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey. And, I want to thank you for your time coming down here today. Sorry we had a bit of delay on there, but...
No worries.
Yeah, I apologize about that.
Hey, no,
I apologize
it's
about
His
that.
fault.
It's all my fault. All my fault.
Oh, wait, do you got the mic with you, too?
No, I don't. I
Oh,
apologize.
okay, cool.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm sorry.
We'll be good. But
Yeah, hopefully
I was gonna
this
say
is
set it up
hopefully
still,
this is
but,
good.
anyways, yeah, man. But we got Friday in the place to be right now.
Yes, sir.
And, so I kind of want to take it back, because I know you moved from Montreal, correct?
I did back in 97.
97.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you were going up in Montreal, what was the hip hop scene like there?
It was very new at the time.
Was it?
Yeah, but at the same time, it was very renaissance when I think about it in hindsight.
Yeah.
Because back in the days when I was in Montreal, I was a rapper, and I was part of a crew named I Spy Crew, which was like a conglomerate of different rappers and rap crews all in one crew. So we were
really?
kind of doing the Wu-Tang thing
Yeah,
early.
like the whole
Was it just
the family
MCs
thing.
or did you
Yeah,
guys have,
MCs.
D-boys and shit too?
No, MCs and a couple of DJs
Sure.
and stuff like that, but
Sure.
DJs who also MC'd at the same time. So
Yeah.
Yep.
you know what I mean? Shout out to Majest, shout out to Mr. FaZe. Tara Chase came from that crew. You know what I'm saying?
word.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because she's originally from Montreal as well.
Yeah.
Right? So at the time, we opened for Raekwon the Chef, Mobb Deep, Souls of Mischief, and Tribe Called Quest when they came down, The Roots. These are groups that were coming down to Montreal back in the early 90s. So we got a lot of hip hop history over there. You know what I mean? And I got to open for some of these guys and meet Souls of Mischief back in it. I got to smoke with Tajay from Souls of Mischief when I was 18. Right?
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and this is in Montreal, right?
Yeah.
So
I know.
times.
I know this show is focused on Toronto hip hop,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it would be nice to kind of detail some of the history there in
That's
Montreal.
kind of,
Yeah. When did you end up getting kind of associated with the Montreal scene? If we go back, you're a fan of rap music.
Uh-huh.
At what point do you start saying there's a local community here?
Yeah.
Let's participate. Let's do something here.
Around that time that I was just explaining, that would probably be around 1992, 93.
Early on.
Yeah, and besides opening shows and stuff like that, we had a community of rappers that were out there trying to do their thing, and these are all English rappers. Let me make sure that to make that a point, right? Because there's French rappers and English rappers out there. There's a difference. You know what I'm saying?
Even in '92, were there francophone rappers as well?
Yes.
Okay.
But
shit.
the scene had a lot. I feel like back in early times, there was a lot more English rappers because rap was still even getting more into a more commercialized fashion.
Yeah.
People were starting to see it on TV more at the time. So English rap really ran stuff even in Montreal at the time.
Yeah.
Right? In the early 90s.
Yeah.
And then as time started evolving into the late 90s and stuff, you started seeing more French rappers coming out. Mouzayan, the Rain Men were a group that were French and English. Right?
Oh, shit.
There was KCLMNOP, which was an old school French rapper from back in the days. There was Inuk, who grew to get a lot of success back over there. These are all French rappers, but they started coming in more in the later mid 90s.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And there was a lot more English rappers in the early 90s.
Crazy.
Beyond the influx of French rappers that was happening as the '90s progressed.
Yeah.
Did you see that there was any kind of difference in terms of the cultural kind of elements of it, in terms of kind of the grassroots community? Did that also start kind of changing, or was it always still that kind of vibe, that grassroots community all the way through while you were still in Montreal? Because you left in '97, but up
Yes.
until '97.
The thing is with Montreal is that that French language and the history behind it and the whole Bill 101 and everything, it's a really prevalent thing over there.
Yeah.
And it encouraged a lot of Anglophone people, besides artists, to make that move down to 401. It started becoming a thing where, like, in the 90s, Montreal was known to started becoming a dying city, they would say, in a way, where, like, a lot of people would take their resources and move down over here to Toronto, right? So a lot of the French people, they stayed, and a lot of the English people left. A lot of English people stayed.
Yeah.
But me, myself, and a lot of my friends moved to Toronto back in, like, the late 90s. It's just because it was just like there was a cap for the amount of opportunities that you can have as an Anglophone person. And forget it, if you want to get into hip hop, that's not the place, in my opinion, at the time that you're going to blow up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm watching videos on Music Plus and Much Music when I'm able to get feeds of Much Music.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing Cardinal Official on with the show and Socrates, Father Time and all that. I'm like, yo, these guys are on TV. Oh, my God, they're famous. That's the first thing I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, like, where am I going to go to attain the success? Even though they were successful, but I thought they were way more successful than.
But you
right?
have that illusion when you're younger. Like, you see someone on TV and you're like, yo, this guy's, like, living it up, you know?
Bro, you're on TV, man. Like,
exactly.
And it's rap.
Yeah.
You understand? Back in the days, we had to share it with Madonna, Celine Dion, all these different people. So when you have a rap video on, you're already king, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Farthest more a Canadian rap video, bro. Like Maestro, you're like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy,
And they're playing it over and over again, not just like one time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, whoa, I want to go to where they're at.
Yeah.
And that's Toronto.
And so even at that age, that, like, in 97, hip hop was in your mind when you
hell
decided to
yeah.
come to Toronto. That was like a
Oh yeah, and like I was already, like, even business wise, I came here and I started going to school. I went to Harris Institute of the Arts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like
Okay.
I at the time in, like, 96, early 97, when I was making my decision to move, I had applied for a couple of schools. One music school that was over in Greenwich Village in New York, and Harris Institute over here in Toronto, and I got accepted to both.
Shit.
And I have mad family in New York. I could have stayed for free in New York, rent free, bunch of family, eat food for free every night.
Yeah.
I decided to come to Toronto where I knew nobody.
Why? Especially if hip hop was the focus or a focus. Obviously, school is the focus.
Yeah.
But if hip hop is the thing, New York is the mecca. New York
Yeah.
is the dream. Why Toronto?
I don't know if I was ready for it yet, man, to be honest.
That's fair.
Like, I you know, like, also, like, the unknown factor. Like I mentioned, like, I had a bunch of family there. So, like, I knew New York. I know New York like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
You did say that it was an I Spy crew. Was that the crew that you were with in Montreal? You said that a lot of your kind of rapper friends also ended up making that move around the same period of time.
Yeah.
They come to Toronto as well. Is it from the I Spy crew?
People, you know, a couple of people from the I Spy crew. Like I said, Tara made the move before I did.
Oh really?
Okay.
Yeah. Tara moved to Toronto maybe like 5 years before I did.
Oh word.
Yeah. From when On With The Show she was in the On With The Show video, wasn't she? She's in the hook.
Fuck, is she?
The On With The Show. With the Afro puff. Yeah, that's her on the hook, I think.
I think it is.
Right?
Fuck, I haven't heard that record like since for time.
So when we were seeing, like, Tara in the videos, and salute to Tara Chase, right? I'm going to drop a little jewel on y'all. Her name was Scooby-Doo at the time.
Oh real?
Right?
That's great.
So when we seen Scoob in the video, we're like, holy shit, Tara's in the music videos. I used to be on the phone with her like, yo, what's Toronto like? And she's like, yo, I hooked up with this crew, you know, the Circle, they're doing big things. I was just like, yo, I gotta move out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like this coveted, like, mirage to come out here. When I came out here, I realized a lot of people had regular jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people who I'm seeing on TV, like, worked 9 to 5s.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I got to peel back that velvet rope, as they say, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, it didn't discourage me. Like, people were getting a lot of success out of Toronto way back.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the early days, like the mixtape days, you guys were doing, You guys are going heavy in that,
Yeah.
like real heavy.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like like in the SARS and Empire times and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a lot more years forward. Maybe like 2003, 2002.
Yeah.
I started managing Scandalous.
Is that what? Okay, that's where it started.
As a solo artist.
Yeah.
Right, and Scandalous is part of to a lot of people legendary crew Empire. Right.
Yeah.
Scandalous, Atom Bomb, Trader Rhyme Animal, Tech Man, Toxic, and Messiah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I started managing Scandalous first because they had a reputation of being a really rowdy crew.
Oh yeah.
Right? Oh, and
were they the first
let's not
group you
forget.
managed, though?
They're the first group I managed, but they're not the first artist.
Okay.
Right? But also in that crew, let's not forget Noah Shabib,
Yeah,
aka
of
40.
course, of course.
Right? So like, I linked up with them back in 2002, but their reputation was already like they tear clubs up, they get rowdy. So I was like, I'll deal with one of you guys.
Yeah.
Right? But the buzz was for them was so high in the city. Like, we got to get that Empire album.
Yo.
When's that going to drop?
Man, I remember their mixtapes used to, because I grew up in Brantford,
Mm-hmm.
and they used to make their way to like Brantford. You know what I mean? Like, people would be like, "Yo, you got that like the Empire? Yo, the Atom Bomb? Yo, you got that C4?" Like that shit was like it was flooding Brantford. You know what I mean? So it was like that shit. The buzz was heavy on those mixtapes.
Yeah, a lot of that is attributed to Trader Rhyme Animal with the SARS mixtape series, right?
Yeah.
Sick Artist Running Ish, right?
Yeah.
And with that, like, it was a collaboration of like artists from all over the country.
Oh, okay.
Right? So
Yeah.
mainly Toronto, but like
There
would be
was-
Empire songs on there, or it'd be one Empire member featured for this SARS mixtape.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're gonna get like maybe 5 songs from him or freestyles from him.
Yeah.
But then you're also gonna get C4 and Jet Black. You're also gonna get Payback, R.I.P. from Rexdale.
Yeah.
You're gonna get like people from Pumpkinhead from New York. You know what I'm saying? R.I.P. Like all these different people sending in verses to get on the SARS mixtapes.
Like those things, like the buzz on those was insane.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's in a time before the internet. That's not like, discovering by like as easy as your phone. That's like
No.
literally word of mouth, word on the street.
Networking, yeah.
Stickers and Trey going back and forth across Canada, like every province, like mad different cities, doing hotels and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, just me saying this now, like I don't always have the best relationships sometimes with some of my guys from back in the days, but I'm never gonna dismiss the things and the bricks that they laid in the scene. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Well,
when you went
Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say.
when you end up moving to Toronto,
Mm-hmm.
you know some people that are already here that moved from Montreal, but how difficult do you find it to kind of incorporate yourself into this hip hop scene that's going on here? Because by 97, it's established.
Yeah, it was not easy. I'll tell you that for sure. Like, just going around with our demo CDs and stuff like that, and just like trying to get people to like take me and my brethren, Lord Raz, who had a crew together, and we also started a record label back in '97 called AWOL Wreckords.
Okay, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
We were going with the whole Master P model, like, hey, start your own label.
Yeah.
Right? So when we were going around trying to give demos to people, some people were like, cool. But for the most part, like, we weren't getting no play on the radio stations. You know, I put out solo songs. Like, I've been to 88.1 how many different times and be like, play my CD. And
Yeah.
it wasn't happening, or they play it while I'm there and then never play it again when I leave. You know what I'm saying? But I will give credit to Project Bounce.
Okay.
That's when I feel like when Project Bounce was around back in 2002, let's say,
Yeah.
and people were hanging around at that 89.5 at that station all the time, just midnight to 5 a.m., all the different crazy incidents. I was there all the time.
Yeah.
And I got to meet a lot of different DJs and different rappers who I've have relationships with till today.
Yeah.
Right? And the Real Toronto,
Yeah.
2005. Right?
Yeah.
That actually was like a gift and a curse in a way,
Yeah.
because it was a DVD that came out.
I remember the Real Toronto.
Right?
That made its way out.
Yeah,
to
like
Brantford.
it had a crazy. Have you
That
heard
had
of Real
huge
Toronto, right?
buzz.
I don't believe so.
You never heard of the Real Toronto?
It's just a documentary
Oh, shit.
on Toronto hip hop. I have a few of them. Okay.
It is, and it isn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a few
more
documentaries
the
on Toronto
streets.
rap, but I don't think anything from 2005.
Now, here's the thing. It only got introduced into the YouTube space when YouTube got created in 2006.
Yeah.
Okay? But in 2005,
It was a
that shit was
DVD.
bootlegged like
Yeah.
crazy.
I have it.
Right?
I have a bootleg copy of it from 2005.
The guy who created it, so this guy's name is Mad Russian, okay? What his intention was to do a hip-hop documentary covering all his favorite Toronto rappers.
Okay.
But what ended up happening is when he went over there with the camera, right? A bigger version at the time, obviously.
Yeah.
Sure.
Everybody was like, yeah, I rap, and look at this, and look at this, right? For the people who are listening on this, I'm doing gun fingers. I'm pulling out, and not even the gun fingers, like gun hands, like where you have to use two hands to hold these things, like AK-47s, right?
insane.
Like the intro of the DVD starts with a guys in the park, and they let off a shot, and in my face, walking down in Parkdale, talking about mine was very tame.
Yeah.
Right? I'm talking about how I came from Montreal and how and Parkdale can get kind of sticky sometimes, but for the most part, we're a community. And then every scene, or almost every scene after, was like, this guy's a snitch. This guy, we shoot you if you come to our hood. Like, people got arrested behind that thing. Like, but to this day,
You were the first face they see.
the first segment, I did my legendary verse that I did at the corner of King and Dufferin, King and Jameson, and people still hit me about that verse till today. Like,
That's crazy.
20-year-old rappers are like, fam, I seen you on Real Toronto on YouTube, bro.
Yo,
Like,
do you know what's
wow.
wild? Man, I hadn't seen that movie in years, but I never even realized that was you until you just said it. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. I
That
haven't
helped me
seen
in
it
so many
long.
ways. Like, when I was incarcerated, you know how many people recognized me from that, and they were like, oh, you're sick, man, still. Yo, that's you. Yo, you want a peanut butter? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like a gateway. Like,
Yeah.
but a lot of people got arrested. That's the curse part.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Fair
saying?
enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy, man. That movie was wild, bro.
Wild.
Did you I could see how that would be a gift and a curse. Like, I'm sure that, even any involvement with that movie's got to be fucking.
Well, the thing is, as a artist coming up in the scene, especially, I wasn't like, keep the peace and daisies and bows rappers. Like, I'm a street rapper. I'm talking about selling drugs, and I'll shoot you in the face if you test me, right? Like, I started off rhymes with, raw, live that gutter life, stab you with a butter knife. Like, these are my first two bars. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you know where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when being on something like the Real Toronto, it actually added legitimacy to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you're on that hood DVD where all the mans them are on. Like, I believe everything you're saying. And unfortunately, I wasn't even lying. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not to say that I was out there killing people, but like, I was very heavily in the streets when I was in my rap shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah, like, and just quick, fast. That's why I don't judge the artists who I interview. You know what I'm saying? And all the young people sometimes that get into incidents and stuff like that. Because I'm like, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Studio time's expensive. If
there.
you want to have jewelry so that you can look like a rapper, but you don't got the record deal yet, you might got to go do a few OT trips.
Yeah.
I ain't mad at you. I'm not saying go do it, but I'm not mad at you if you're doing it. Yeah, man. Sorry about that, man. Sometimes I can get into my rant mode and story mode. So just let me know if you want me to condense some of these answers that you're asking.
No,
you know what I'm
not
saying?
at all. Because what we want to do is kind of actually, kind of like you were saying, like there's so many people that have laid cornerstones and have been there and are pioneers in certain, regards of building this Toronto scene. And that's kind of the whole point, is to get an inner look into that view. You know what I mean? So,
definitely.
Like any of the details of the situation at the time, it really just helped paint the picture. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
And with the Empire thing too, like, so you started off with Tony. Well, what was the in between time like though? Because like you said, it skips ahead. There's about 4 or 5 years in there.
In the first year or so of managing Tony Ranks, aka Scandalous,
Yeah.
I was kind of like leaning on like, I'll manage the whole crew.
Yeah.
Right? Like we were doing shows with him and Adam Bomb. They had a crew called the Loud Mouse.
Yeah.
And then we're also going and doing like solo Scandalous shows and full Empire shows. So like I'm still pseudo managing the whole crew anyway.
Yeah.
So after a while I was just like, fuck it. Like, and I did more than just managing. I was like executive producing. I executive produced their whole album.
Yeah.
Right? So I paid for the studio time and
Oh shit, really?
the videos
Wow.
and all that. Like management, like just to be more technical, like they were part of the label.
Yeah.
Me being a manager was just one of the hats.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't delegate that task to somebody else. But I feel like I was more of an executive producer than a manager.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like booking the studio times, finding and A&Ring at the same time, right? Like finding different producers. Hey, here's some beat packs from these guys. Pick a beat out of there and let me know what you want out of there, and I'll fucking go pay the producer for the beat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, getting the mix downs done and like 40 mixed pretty much 60 to 70% of the Get It album.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And while he was mixing down that album, he was working at the remix project over there on Sudbury at the location that they had over there.
Okay.
Right? A little jewel for you. That was actually at the same time when they were recording the So Far Gone album.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is like really early in the times when him and Drake had first met and they started like making music together.
Yeah.
So we'd be walking into studio sessions and Drake would be finishing up a session, or we'd watch him finishing up a tune, and we weren't like taking it serious like, oh my God, that's Drake. We didn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't a guy like that yet,
no,
right?
yeah,
like he was still like coming around like different like rap shows that we would have, like really like low rap shows like College Street. We're just performing and he'll pop up after the show and try to jump into ciphers outside, or when there's open mic time, like I'm talking like 16, 17-year-old Drizzy.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when he started working with 40, like maybe like 19, close to 20 time, we were already in the mode of recording Get It. They meet each other, and now he's popping up in the studio. We were actually kind of getting annoyed sometimes. We were like, bro, we got studio time now, bro. Like, this is our time now. Who is this guy? Right? Not realizing the weight of what they were creating at the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they were making the So Far Gone mixtape.
That's crazy.
And we were like,
come on, man.
We're supposed to be here for 4. Like what's going on, man? You know what I'm saying? Not realizing. I don't think they realized the magnitude of what they were making too, right?
Gravity of it either.
They're
How
all
could
young,
you, right?
right?
But it's cool to see like the painting of the picture of what, you know what I mean? Like, that's how it started. Like, you seen kind of like the grassroots beginning of that whole like thing.
We got a shot off of that album or mixtape. I've spoken about this actually in the same place, I feel like.
Yeah.
He took a shot at us on ignorant shit.
Really, eh?
Yes.
What was said?
I forgot the pre-bar, but it was same thing, same same niggas that used to holler my engineer's name. Right? Something, I'm staring into a different lane, right? Or they mad I'm staring into a different lane, the same niggas that used to holler my engineer's name. Right? You remember the ignorant shit on the Jay-Z beat? Right? He took a shot at us on that.
Fuck.
We had an issue with it at the time. This is 2000 and...
I was gonna say because there was a situation.
We had an issue.
Yeah, there was something.
So that damaged your relationship with 40, or were you?
No,
in 40
not really, because
I remember
it was kind of like weird for a second. I can't say that.
Yeah.
Right? Because I can't even believe I'm retelling the story. He said that it wasn't for us.
Yeah.
He said that shot was for an R&B guy, right? The guy named Marcus Voice.
Oh, real?
40 said this.
No, Drake.
Said this.
Right? He had a conversation with, I'm not going to say with which one of the artists, but one of the Empire members. He hit him up and he was like, yo, nah, that shot wasn't for you guys. Because Empire's like 6 lyrical guys. They were like, oh, what? Yeah. Oh, yo, where's the pen? Like, yo, let's get him. Like, oh, this is our time, right? And he was kind of already getting under our skin from popping up all the time in our, like, impeding in our sessions. Like, we're not knowing that this guy's gonna become the biggest rapper in the world.
Could you? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we were pissed. Like, it was gonna be like, yo, not beat him up, but like, yo, we're gonna make this track and we're gonna desecrate this guy, and it got squashed.
Because I remember, there was a few Empire joints that came out where there was a couple like little shots.
Some shots did come out.
Yeah.
Adam ain't gonna get away with those shots that he took. He took some shots. You know what I'm saying?
I remember, a few. I can't even specifically remember the songs now, but I do remember that for a little minute when.
Yeah. That history runs very long, right? Like, so even now, like Drake follows our page.
Yeah.
But I feel like in the back of my mind, he's like, you motherfucker, you're the same guy from back those times, eh? Fucking guy, what are you doing here? You know what I'm saying? But it's all love.
Yeah, but you know what? That's like literally right there, the definition of hustle. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it is the same motherfucker from back in the day. I am here.
We're still here. You know what I'm saying? Doing pods. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy the episode. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've gotten word back. Like, these guys check in when they're on the studio, and it's, you know, there's a lot of lull time like between just doing tracks, and you know, you might do some gaming. You might throw on some We Love Hip Hop.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you know, and like, help you keep like a pulse of the city too, you know what I mean? Because really, I mean, there's nothing else in Toronto that's like it, you know what I mean? You guys have a current pulse kind of always on currently what's going on in the city, you know what I mean? Like,
I appreciate
but
it.
in like in a hip hop way, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But it's dope. Like, there's nothing else really like it that I can think of, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of even like what we do is very history, you know, everything's like very history based, but you guys always have a current, like, you know, there's always a current pulse on what's actually happening.
I don't feel like we're reinventing the wheel, though, to be honest. Because, like, we pod, right? We talk about current topics and stuff like that. But, like, Joe does that, Joe Button, right?
But the thing is, you guys do it for Toronto, though. You know what I mean? That's the thing. There's nobody really doing that. Like, there's no source. Like, I'll listen to Button 2 times a week. You know, I listen, you know, there's a ton of things I'll frequent. And you kind of just kind of get a little pulse of everything. You know what I mean? It's like, but you guys are the only thing that really represents that in Toronto, I would say.
That bothers me.
Really?
Yeah, and I've spoken about it behind the scenes. I've spoken about it sometimes on camera.
Yeah.
I wish there was 10 We Love Hip Hops.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, when artists are ready to go do a media run, there's a run to be made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know I'm going to be here next week.
Yeah.
And with all due respect to the other podcasts that are out there, there's a lot of new podcasts that have come up over the last 2-3 years.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that they know they're going to be there next week.
Yeah.
Don't be like, we took a little break. Yeah, we'll be back next. No, man.
Yeah. That's the thing.
I'm tired of that shit.
A lot of people think that but it's like anything, right? A lot of people think certain things are easier than what they are to maintain and keep the machine running. You know what I mean? So, you know, unless you absolutely love what you do and kind of obsess over it realistically, you probably won't be here next week, or at least in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Like,
well, there's a long-term goal, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know we're going to get the bag. I'm not worried about that part.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I'm just filling in the blanks in between.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Which create the process of what it takes to get there. You know what I mean?
Be good at your craft. You know what I'm saying? As far as like the delivery of like using these microphones, engineering, visual, all that stuff, elevating the content that we're making, just making sure that, like, if let's say Drake hit us up tomorrow and say, yo, let's do an interview.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be like, oh shit, I need to go get a boom mic. Let me see if I can go rent an extra camera. Like, no, man.
Be good.
We have 3 4K cameras. We have 4 RE20 microphones. We have lavalier mics. Like, I have handheld. Like, I have a 12 channel mixer, a Tascam Model 12 mixer. Like, I'm using standard shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's my studio mixer. That's not the portable one.
What's the portable one?
I just have the Zoom H6 that a lot of people use.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's very industry standard. I see everybody using it.
I used to have one.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the one I take on the road with me. I interviewed Pressa with that one.
Really, eh?
Like, just the other day.
No shit.
Bought it on the balcony, hooked the mics up. Here's your mic. Here's mine. Let's talk.
So the podcast that you have, is it Toronto focused? Obviously, it's based in Toronto,
Mm-hmm.
but the guests that you end up acquiring, is it Toronto rappers, Toronto artists? The topics that you're covering,
Mm-hmm.
is it generally, if there's something going on in the city, are you talking about that as well?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yes. We're Toronto based and partially Toronto focused.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay? Because, you know, if something's happening in the States that is of notoriety to the whole hip hop scene or the
Yeah, of
culture,
course.
we're going to talk about it.
Exactly.
Right? Like we spoke about RIP to PNB Rock.
Yeah.
We spoke about that the other day on YouTube Live.
Yeah.
Right? It's relevant to the hip hop, the whole diaspora.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like, for example, Toronto based things, I feel like we also need to be first on those things
Yeah.
too, right? So that like when people from the to inform the people in our country and in our city and stuff like that, but then people from the outside get to find out what's going on up north through us,
Yeah.
right? Oh, I didn't know that this guy Pressa was going on with this, or this guy Top 5, or whoever's, you know what I'm saying? Whoever who might end up in the news that we care about and
Yeah.
we'll have a discussion about. That's a discovery point for somebody in New Zealand, maybe.
Exactly. Well, I mean, Earl Sweatshirt loves the Biz Loke interview, right?
Right?
Like, that's crazy.
So, you know, he's discovering a Toronto artist
Yeah.
through watching our platform.
Yeah.
And to me, that's valuable. Like, it's cool to find out about us and, you know, our faces get more notoriety, but you find out about Bizloke, his interview might be crazy, and you're like, oh, what the fuck's going on? It's a train wreck. But now you might go stream his music
Yeah,
on
now you
Spotify
can-
or
yeah.
on YouTube or something,
Yeah.
right?
And it helps the podcast as well
Yes.
because that's for the artist, that's the goal of them doing the media run.
Yes.
It's kind of like, honestly, it's like it's like No Jumper kind of happening before your eyes a little bit in Toronto. You know what I mean? Like, artists and like a culture and a whole generation of artists kind of coming up with a media platform that complements them through up like their, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's the way I see it. Like, I've learned of a lot of like artists through We Love Hip Hop. You know what I mean? Hip hop, like interviews.
No, respect, man.
You know what I mean?
And I think when it comes to the Toronto artist, it's our responsibility to be able to meet them on the same page, basically, right? Like we are able to understand the lingo, speak the lingo, all that type of stuff, so that we can get more comfort out of a Toronto artist.
Yeah.
So, for example, like I'll use like Pressa.
Yep.
Okay, and I'm gonna big up my chest for this because Pressa does a lot of interviews. He does press, right?
Yeah.
You know, no pun intended, but he's not always as comfortable when like you see him doing a Breakfast Club interview.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
swinging around in the chair. He's doing more, you know what I'm saying, and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Keep
right?
it a little more short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my responsibility every time I see him for him to go, oh, one of the man them. Yo, so yeah, this is what's been going on with me lately, blah, blah, blah. Now
Cut
the
those walls
sentences
down.
are more fluid and everything
Yeah.
is just a more chill conversation. I'm not going to try to get a moment out of you,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. If a moment happens, fine.
Great.
But I'm not here trying to get you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you can relax. You know what I'm saying? The home team's here. Because especially with these guys, I want them to be more and more successful. So they are going around all these different places, meeting all these strangers.
Yeah.
But when they come back, that home press, that's, you know, oh, that's just, you know, like when you see those LA rappers and they go talk to Big Boy, they're like,
Yep.
oh, Big Boy, I'm back home now. Okay,
Yeah,
now I
yeah,
can let
yeah.
my hair down a bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a big thing, especially within hip hop media, because there is a lot of conflict. There is a lot of drama that happens between hip hop artists and within the culture itself.
Yeah.
When I'm writing my book, I want to celebrate hip hop culture here. I want the book to be a celebration of what happened within Canada.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not really interested in all the personal feuds, all the beefs that are happening. Sometimes it's relevant for why things happen the way they did, and sometimes you have to address them.
Yeah.
But it's certainly not my goal to dwell on the negative, and I like that approach. That yeah, you want the artist to end up becoming more successful. It also benefits you.
Yeah.
It's a reciprocal thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, it benefits you in the sake that you are now considered this platform where the artist can feel safe, and the artist now wants to go onto your platform. But also, if they do end up blowing up because you've celebrated their success or you've made this out to be a a good thing,
Yeah.
well, then that drives more views and stuff to the platform as well.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of different things, right? Because we do interviews, but one thing I've always made sure is that the We Love Hip Hop network is a network, right?
Yeah.
So the We Love Hip Hop podcast is one content
piece
of the
overall
network.
puzzle. Yeah.
right? So I do news stories.
Yeah.
Like I do news from the 6, where, now I'm even getting other guys to do the news stories and send
Yeah.
me the audios, and I'll just sync a video to it and post those, right? So if we do a news story about a rapper who fucked up, it doesn't mean I can't have an interview with you and have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Because we do a couple of different things.
Yeah.
You might end up in one of our news stories and get pissed off. Or one of our conversation that we're just having with the host,
Yeah.
where we're discussing something that happened that you ended up on the timeline. And you might be like, yo, bro, what are you guys talking about me?
Yeah.
But we also do interviews so we can have a conversation with you and get the full story. Or, you know what I'm
Have you run
saying?
into any of that? Like artists, like you just said something in casual conversation, like an opinion piece or
Oh,
whatever. and
hell
then,
yeah.
Like, cats are like, oh, fuck, I'm not coming to do an interview then and shit like that. Or
Not only casual conversation, remember, I put out lists.
oh, yeah, you'd have put out some.
Right? Top
Yo.
15 underground Toronto
Yeah,
rappers.
you put out
You know
some
what I'm saying?
controversial lists.
And people get pissed.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I've actually had people tell me, like, yo, I was going to come do an interview with you. I'm not fucking with you no more. I'm not doing the interview. All right. You know what I'm saying? And they actually, I thought they were joking, but they meant it. Like, they're doing interviews. They doing to another platform. Didn't do one with me.
That's crazy.
Just to put it this, I've interviewed some of these people before and have mad views from their first interviews, and they're like, I'm not pulling up to do a second one because of your list.
That's crazy though, eh? But like,
Sensitive.
I was gonna say artists are typically pretty sensitive,
Mm-hmm.
and competitive. You're sensitive and competitive, so
Yeah.
you put the two together, and it's like,
That's why I stopped writing reviews. Like the reviews were the same thing, right? You just burn bridges.
Yeah.
And ultimately, is it worth it? I don't know.
yeah, that's why I stopped
It's
actually.
double-edged sword.
That's why I stopped potting too, because I can't not speak my mind. So if we're talking about like a current thing that came out or a situation that happened, like jokes and all, like natural conversation, like we're just having a smoke and talking about it.
Yeah.
And then on the playback, I've had some situations that
Yeah,
don't come back so pretty.
it's a fine line. It's a dance basically,
Yeah.
like, to make sure that pause to massage relationships.
Yeah.
Massage relationships, because I'm gonna pod and I'm gonna give my opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, I can't say that some bridges have been burnt. They've been maybe a little singed, but not
Yeah.
burnt.
Yeah.
Right. But there has some. There's also people who I'm going to give the report or give my opinion on whatever, but I'm not gonna kick your back in.
Yeah.
Because I still want your interview.
Yeah.
I'm going to have some jokes for you. So when you see the content back, you'll be like, okay, that was funny.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like, yo, fuck you. I'm off of this. Yo, we should cancel him. You know what I'm saying? By the way, yo, he's a fuck boy. Like, I'm never going to do that.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Not only because I don't want to burn the bridge, I don't want to smoke with you, fam. So, like, I'm saying all these wild things about you on my podcast and then not expecting you not to want to punch me when you see me.
Yeah.
No, make some jokes, talk about what happened to you, and then move on to the next topic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
How many people are in that team that you have now for the podcast, but for the network, actually? How big have you built this thing up?
Man, the team is ever evolving. It grows, and then it shrinks, and it grows again.
Yeah.
Right? So at one point in time, I had like 4 shows going on at a time.
Wow.
Right? So I had to
I remember that because
Yeah.
you had a couple girls doing a show, did you not?
I had one woman doing a show, Alizé. She had a show called Zaylink,
Yeah.
which was like a more relationship-based, sex talk, that type of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Then there's 6 Views Uncut with Gutsy Guts, who was hosting that show.
Yeah.
There was the We Love Hip Hop podcast, the flagship show. And then I had the news program, News from the 6.
Yeah.
Right? Where I'm just like sometimes every day, couple times a day, hitting news stories up on the YouTube channel. Right? So I had 4 shows going at a time. Alizé fired her, unfortunately. Gutsy Guts just left not too long ago.
No way, Gutsy left?
Yeah.
Wow.
He left the network, right? Just different in creative opinions, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Let's call it that. But it's all love for me. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And I've acquired new people as far as like doing content. So, for example, I have a guy from Montreal, Alex Got Bands, or ABG or AGB, right? He just finished doing an interview with a guy named A1 Gento,
Okay.
right? And he also sends me a bulk of Montreal songs, like videos and stuff like that. And I just look at this list of stuff that he sends me, and every once in a while I'll pluck one and drop a video on YouTube, on the Instagram page, right? Just to show some Montreal rappers some love and show that we're tapped in over there.
Yeah.
Right? Dusty Wallace, who just started popping up and doing the YouTube lives with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I thought that was dope that you had Dusty. Yeah.
Yeah, and Dusty's our second interview or second guest or second episode 2 on the podcast.
Yeah.
So full circle now, he's
was on
co-hosting YouTube.
episode 2.
He was episode 2. Him and a
Crazy.
guy named Humble Child.
No shit.
And now he's co-hosting lives with me, right? I have Empress, who does 6 Views, the original 6 Views, where she's doing one-on-one, I would call more conversations with people and talking to different artists, not just musical artists, but visual artists and stuff like that, having conversations about mental health. And one more person, I want to salute to Mr. 366, a.k.a. Amar, who I did an interview with him not too long ago that's doing crazy. But he's also become a host as well, who he just finished doing an interview with a guy named Dappa, who signed to Benny the Butcher.
No shit.
Yeah,
No
and that was
shit.
his first interview. I just
On the Black Soprano Family?
Yeah.
Dappa.
Yeah, a guy from Philadelphia.
Oh, wow.
They were just here for the more Black Superhero show with West Side Boogie headlining. And Amar knocked out an amazing interview with him. His first interview, I just uploaded it to the channel now, and I'm still doing interviews too, but eventually I'll be doing the least amount of interviews and having more content creators doing more on the front and me just doing the back end.
Well, and that's one thing I wanted to ask too, because you grow a passion for doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how hard do you find it is to let go sometimes of like an interview that like you want to do? You know what I mean?
Not hard at all.
No?
No. I'll even and also big salute to Gucci, our cameraman, our former cameraman. He had recently left as well.
Yeah.
Right? But I also have more people behind the scenes doing camera work. Right?
Yeah.
Salute to Raheel. I have our team, like I said, grows and shrinks. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to that, a lot of interviews that were, or not a lot, but a percentage of interviews that were on 6 Views Uncut, let's say, for example.
Yeah.
Which was hosted by Gutsy Guts at the time.
Yeah.
Some of those interviews were interviews that I could have booked for myself.
Yeah.
Like I was speaking to the artist, Books, for example.
Yeah.
Right? He's in town. Yo, let's do an interview Friday. Sure. When do you want to do it? Let's do it on Sunday. Well, I'm not filming this Sunday.
Yeah.
But Gutsy is.
Oh yeah, so like you
Come do an interview with him.
Makes it do best.
Do the interview with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Holler at Gutsy. Yo, you got an interview coming up in the next few days. Prepare for it. Right?
Yeah.
And I've done that a few times. And even with Empress, with her new show, she's booked 98% of her interviews. But one of her first ones, Rax, I was like, hey, Rax, me and her talking in the DMs.
Yeah.
You want to do an interview? I got somebody for you right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm booking a bunch of interviews myself.
Yeah.
But if I have other content creators who are doing interviews as well, hey, you take the interview.
Yeah.
I don't need to take all of them. Trap Lord Ross, same thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yo, Gutsy, take him. I don't need him. Not that I don't need him.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be there too. I'll get to throw in a couple questions, but I don't need to be the lead guy on it.
Yeah.
It's going up on the network. Regardless, we're all going to eat.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
All right?
Do you like being hands-on with all the programs, or do you want them all to kind of be self-sufficient at a certain
I
point?
want them to be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Right? It's just that it's hard to find people who are as passionate about your shit as you are.
As you are, yeah.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You never really will, because even when you pay people, it becomes a job, right? And it's hard for people to share ultimate dedication and passion to something that's not 100% theirs.
Yeah, and I'm falling into this problem with my post-production skills that I also offer to other people and stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
I've produced other people's podcasts behind the scenes and stuff too.
Yeah.
Right? Salute to Truth Be Told, and like I've had people come through and I've produced their content for them.
Yeah.
But the problem I'm having is I'm learning so much that if I want to hire someone, I can't afford them at the time right now.
Yeah.
We need to be making way more money for me to be able to afford an editor who can do it better than I can.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I can get somebody to do it for a couple $100s, but they're not going to be able to do it as far as I can edit a video right now.
Exactly. It's
You
gonna,
know what I'm saying?
Your quality's gonna regress.
So if I want to pay somebody who edits at the level I can and not to toot my own horn, it's going to cost at least $500 to edit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not. That's not in my cost right now.
Yeah.
Not for the amount of content that we're creating.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, because so you're basically the sole editor of the whole thing.
Right now, yes.
I feel you.
But
Except I
actually
don't produce half as much content as you do, though. But fuck.
No, but if I do I did an interview yesterday. It's already on the channel. It's already sitting there unlisted.
Yeah.
It took me. The interview was half an hour long. It took me about an hour to do the edit.
Yeah.
3 angles.
Is that the way that you keep up best? To just do it as soon as you're finished?
Do it right away.
Yeah.
I do the audio the same day that I do the interview.
Yeah.
And then within 24 hours, I'm chopping up the video.
Yeah.
All right, just get it out the way.
Yeah. And then, like, so one thing I do want to ask, too, because I know that you got things that you're trying to set up. You guys got your 300th episode tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. 300 episodes.
Yes, sir.
That's fucking insane. Congratulations on that.
Thank
By
you.
the time this airs, that'll already be passed. But
Yes, sir.
That's a huge feat, man.
No, thank you, man. Like, it's been a long road, man, to get there. And I started doing more than 1 episode a week.
Yeah.
So it actually started making the numbers increase faster.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like over the last, let's say, month or so, I started cranking out like 3 episodes a week sometimes, man. Like I'm going crazy, man. I just want to interview I want to talk to everybody right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
here we
once
are.
you start interviewing people too, like it's a web, right? They say, "Oh, I have to get you in contact with this guy. I have to get you in contact with this guy," and you can't decline interviews because, well, you don't want to decline the interview.
Yeah, and I
So
want
you
the
take-
history.
yeah.
I'm collecting a time capsule right now.
Yeah.
I was getting to the point with the book that there was weekends where I had 12 interviews on Saturday, and they would last an hour long. It would be 9 a.m. right till fucking bedtime.
Fuck, yeah, that's nuts.
And
I can't do
then
that.
Sunday would be the same thing.
Yeah.
And I just, you take the opportunities.
Yeah.
And there's always more to speak to. Yeah, so I wanted to ask, just when did you end up putting out your first solo project?
First solo project would be 2012 first official album, Born to Win. Okay, I put it on all streaming platforms. Salute to Urbnet, Wreckords, website, and everything. Salute to Daryl and the good people over there at Urbnet. He distributed that through them in Fontana North. I had a bunch of mixtapes before that, though. Like,
Okay.
Maybe about 10 mixtapes before that.
Which certainly
on that
count,
piff.
right? There,
Yeah.
you classify them differently, but
Yeah.
the community hears your name as Friday earlier than that.
Yeah. Like, I had the mixtapes appearing on a bunch of Empire tunes as well, and just being around the scene.
Yeah.
But officially, 2012 put out my first album. Followed up again in 2014. All that time I was on parole. I had just come home from jail.
Oh, shit.
Back in 2011. I was gone for a year of a 4-year sentence, and then spent the rest of the time on parole at home.
Holy
So I spent like 3 years on parole on the road.
Shit.
Right, so 2011 to 2014, I was on parole. By 2014, I put out another album called Home. That wasn't on all the streamers, but I put it out on DatPiff and SoundCloud, a few other things like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Still a bunch of videos.
That period was actually a weird period where you didn't really know where to post music.
It was weird. Like,
Yeah.
we were still trying to figure out what the streamers was and all that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Even I'm using the term streamers, like that's an evolved term,
Yeah.
right? But
There was a year where I only posted on like Bandcamp because nowhere else seemed to really make
that's
sense
where
anymore.
that's
Yeah.
where the album was too,
Okay,
Bandcamp,
yeah.
right? So
Is
that
that
album,
period, yeah.
and then the third album, which I feel like is one of my best albums, the Nocturnal album,
Yeah.
that came out in 2015, all streaming platforms. That was also on Urbnet, and then I started just figuring out how to just do shit myself.
Yeah.
I put out another album in 2016, and that would be it was an EP. That was the Shift EP. Big salute to Big Tweezy. It was a whole.
Is there physicals for that?
No, all
Okay.
digital.
Because I have the shit that you put out through Urbnet.
Okay.
Certainly I do.
Oh, respect.
But yeah, I never heard of that project. The
Yeah,
Shift EP.
it's all streaming platforms. It's called Shift. I called it Shift because we were going to start shifting into like different things and sounds and stuff. And I was also like moving into making content and stuff like that. Right?
Yeah.
Around the time when I did the Nocturnal album, I was advised by my publicist that I had hired at the time to start making more content outside of music. And that's
Really?
why I started making more YouTube content.
Really, eh?
And that's where by 2017, when I dropped the Divided EP, that's when I retired.
Okay.
I was like, I'm off this.
And when you went into it, did you go into it with the mind state that you were going to retire from music, or were you unsure during making it?
I have a whole probably 20 to 30 unreleased songs.
From that era?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually was turning up the amount of recording. I put out some stuff on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
But I was actually doing mad freestyles, just putting out a bunch of tunes. I was planning on putting out a one more album. And then I just started getting really entrenched into this podcast thing, man. Like,
Yeah.
and then the will to rap started leaving me. Like, I was a rapper's rapper. I didn't just like want to do it as a lick.
Yeah.
Like, if I hear hot beats, then words start formulating in my head and
Yeah.
flow patterns and stuff. Shit like that. Real artists was like, you can't not want to rap.
Yeah.
That went away. I don't have that anymore. I don't care how fire the beat is.
Really?
Nothing's bubbling in my head. I don't got an 8 hidden somewhere in my brain. Nothing.
Really, eh?
Not a lick.
See, and that's kind of what I was curious about, that transitional period and kind of like dealing with that. That's interesting, though.
I'm different than a lot of other rappers or ex-rapper or retired rappers. Like, I hear Joe Buttons talk about, oh, every once in a while I'm in the shower, a couple of bars come to my... Not even. Not even. Questions come to my head. Like, my 16 bars
Yeah.
are the
know.
questions that I'm putting down on a page for somebody.
Interesting.
Like, when I'm finished and I'm like, oh, shit, I got like 21 questions. That's like a 32 bar for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I'm going long with this one. It's going to be a long interview.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go crazy on this verse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
God
Like,
did.
yeah. Like, though, that question right there, ooh, that's going to be a sick one. That's my bars now. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
When you're in that early kind of mixtape phase,
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned earlier in the interview here that you had this kind of record label and you were starting it from ground zero, and you had kind of the Master P business model in mind.
Yes.
When you start putting out the mixtapes, is that still part of that kind of
That was
empire
that
that you're
AWOL?
trying to build?
Everything that I've ever put out musically, including other artists, the AWOL label has always
AWOL.
been there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
I remember seeing the AWOL. I've seen the AWOL label a lot, so.
Just tattooed on my skin.
Hey. There it
You know what I'm
is.
saying?
Right?
Right? Like, it's an incorporated company. You know what I'm saying? I do
Yeah.
my taxes under AWOL, like, to this day.
Yeah.
Right? And I've distributed music, like, besides the Empire album.
Yeah.
You know, the partial distribution through UrbNet. Like, the AWOL label is still under UrbNet Records.
Yeah.
Right? Before branching off and then just doing it and just putting my own.
Yeah.
All right. But I've always been adamant about making sure that Buns is mixtapes, artists that I used to manage from before, AWOL Records.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even when we were signing the deal with Empire for Hip Hop Canada / not E1 Music, what did it used to be called? Koch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they evolved into E1 Music.
Yeah.
Right? We were one of the first, if not the first, to like sign one of those digital deals back in the days in Canada.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
No shit.
Because Hip Hop Canada had, started doing some work with Koch, and they were starting to sign artists to like digital deals. This
Oh,
is
shit.
2006, 2007.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Somebody should write a book on Koch. That, like, they dominated a space within kind of that CD, like, quick, cheap CD
Yes.
distribution deals.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and Jay Devonish, salute to him. He was working for Koch at the time.
Yeah.
Right? So we signed a deal, and they wanted to sign a deal for Empire. But I said, no, we got to sign a deal for my label.
Ah.
And then we could put out Empire stuff under the Hip Hop Canada E1 / AWOL label, deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that we can put out Empire stuff, we can put out Buns' stuff, we can put out my own stuff. Like, we're not limited to just the one crew that signed.
Yeah.
Right? So when I signed the deal with them, it was an AWOL deal.
You gotta retain some ownership of the group.
I still own that mixtape or that album. I mean,
Yeah.
the Get It album, like I own it.
Yeah.
it's a AWOL record. Like it's distributed still. You can find it on streamers. It's on Spotify. I put it there. No, like I did the TuneCore and I put it there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because after that deal kind of dissolved,
that's a classic album. That's crazy to think about, eh? Like a Toronto classic.
But it wasn't findable at a point in time.
Yeah.
Right? I know Adam Bomb had put it up on Bandcamp for a second.
Yeah.
But technically I owned the rights to the album. So I was like, I'm going to have to put this up on the streamers. And I put it on the streamers.
Yeah.
All right? And since then, like I think I put it up on streamers like maybe like 5-6 years ago, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right? Because like you said, it's a classic album.
Yeah.
But not available on any streaming platform, that's crazy.
That is crazy. And
Happens
when you
a
guys,
lot.
in those days too, like how many copies did you guys end up making up of those?
I have no idea, dude.
Really, eh?
Dude, like, you understand also, like, we put out the Empire Get It album in October of 2009.
Yeah.
Okay? That same month, I was the victim of a home invasion.
Oh, fuck.
Got a bunch of my shit stolen, all my drugs, money, fucking gold, all that type of shit, and still went to the album release party that same night. Right? Then I went to jail and then I went to jail in December of that same year.
Yeah.
Right? Came home on bail.
Oh, man.
And then went to jail and then broke my bail by February of 2010.
Yeah.
I was out of there. Everything kind of dissolved after that. From the time I went away in February of 2010 for good, you never heard another Empire album or anything come out again.
Well, I always wondered why the
they never kept it together.
Just kind of halted.
There was already a conflict that had happened before between Scandalous and the rest of the crew, right? And myself and the rest of me and Scandalous and the rest of the crew. It got really messy.
Yeah.
But we were able to keep it together for the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Right? Doing shows while these guys had beef. You know what I'm saying?
And you're basically the one who has to keep everything together.
Yeah, like we'd be doing shows, and before the show, Scandalous is over here like just reading a book and just chilling, and then the rest of us like over here like just talking amongst ourselves, getting ready for the show, and then we go do the show. Everybody get on stage together, and then we separate after.
Wow,
like this was happening.
That's crazy,
right? And then when I left, they were just like, well, whatever, we don't fuck with you anyway. So they never were able to keep it back together. You know what I'm saying?
Man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And fuck, like Empire's one of those. They're one of those. Like in the list of people, when you name like legendary hip hop groups out of the city, like they are on that list. You know what I mean? Or legendary hip hop anything. You know what I mean? Like Empire carries a legacy that I think doesn't always get the props and the recognition that it deserves for how important it is as that piece of Toronto hip hop history. Like. There was a point, you know what I mean? Like you said, you're talking about going to sessions and Drake's coming up and you're like, yo, who's this guy eating up our studio time?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Empire at that time, that was Toronto hip hop. You know what I mean? Like that shit was like, that shit was everywhere.
And we collaborated with everybody. Like we had, Hustle Men, we were down with them, Point Blank.
Yeah.
We had early Boy Wonder beats.
Crazy.
Like Boy Wonder did a beat for this track called Who's the Boss that was Adam Bomb and Scandalous. Right? He sampled the Who's the Boss, the Tony Danza show.
Yep.
The brand new life. And he made a stupid beat out of it. Right? We didn't even make the song. They just used it for a show, and then they had to create a song for it after because what they did on the show was just so crazy. Like, they opened for Master Ace, and they were like, what's that record? And they were like, Who's the Boss? And then they had to go record it.
Say word, eh?
Right? And then that became a record that actually got played on Flow back in the days.
Yeah.
And then Chic Luke popped up with the same beat. Same producer.
Yeah. The same producer, eh?
Boy Wonder sold the beat to Chic Luke.
Oh, what?
Yeah. But that was a freebie from him.
Yeah.
So I couldn't be mad at him. Like, we didn't even know what the fuck we were doing with it. But what I did do is circle back and say, let me get 2 beats from you.
Yeah.
I bought 2 Boy Wonder beats back in the days for $600 total. He must have been 16 at the time.
Yo.
Wow.
I went to his house to go drop off the cash to his mom's
crazy.
house.
That's crazy. You still got them?
Yeah. There's one track called Be Honest.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? Fuck, I don't remember
You
the
did
other.
end up using both of them.
We
though.
used both of the beats.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one of the songs, I hate the song. But like the beat was cool. You know what I'm saying? But like that was I don't even
That's
think he had met
crazy.
Drizzy yet, to be honest, dude.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
And would that connection have come through like the 40?
No, that was MySpace, bro.
Oh, really?
He hit us up.
Yeah.
Like, yo, Adam Bomb and Scandalous, they're so fire. Can I get one? I want it. I have to get them on one of my beats.
Really,
This is what
eh?
he was sending me in the messages on not my Messenger.
MSN?
MSN Messenger.
Oh, man. Remember MSN? That shit was crazy.
Yeah. I used to talk to him on Messenger, and he'd be like, yo, those guys are so crazy. Oh, I got to get some beats to you. And he was like just a young kid, right?
Yeah.
We didn't know he was going to evolve to be Boy Wonder, like maker of Grammy Award-winning beats. You know what I'm saying? This is, we're all kids, bro.
That's crazy, though,
Yeah.
And that's what, like, exactly what I'm even going to say, too. It's like you look at how many people who would shape Toronto history for the next coming years. A lot of people come from that SARS circle.
Well, shit, look at 40. He produces for the biggest rapper in the world.
Literally, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, some of the beats that he made from us back in the days, I actually, when I listen to them now, I can hear the foreshadowing of where he was going.
Yeah.
Because he's always had this, like, soulful, use R&B and incorporate that into making a hip-hop beat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's always been his thing. Like, you know, we seen him working with us to, you know, getting a Divine Brown features and working with Socks, and like we watched that evolution.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Until like he met Drizzy, and like, but the beats that he was making all along that time, like it was an evolution of his sound.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Until like he started making what he makes for Drake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it was already kind of there. You can hear it in like older 40 production. Like he wasn't gonna just be giving you hard hitting beats. It's gonna be something nice and smooth in the beat.
Yeah.
That makes you just chill.
It's crazy even that the biggest rapper of all time has one kind of in-house producer that he's remained consistent with throughout all the years. Like that doesn't happen. Jay-Z doesn't have like an in-house producer that he's remained consistent with. Like you have like M or 50, but like Dre produced a little bits of a few albums.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah, no, it's like it's very rare you actually do see that kind of like
pretty commendable.
Yeah, it is.
Like shout outs.
Yeah.
Man. That's
What happens now is like Drake uses other producers, but 40 touches every single beat of everything that goes out there. You know what I mean? Even if it doesn't say co-produced by him, he's added this here. He did the mix. You know, or him and Noel. Like they're touching somewhere in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not just like letting it go.
fucking partnership.
Yeah. Like you're not going to hear a Drake song go out without
40's hands on it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it doesn't even make sense. It doesn't matter if Take Keith made the beat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like 40's going to go in there and be like, no, you need to add the bring the hi-hats up a bit or something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or he'll add a to make it just that much better. You know what I'm saying? Like I've watched him doing this from way back. Like he's some of the stuff that we were talking about behind the scenes, like all these plugins and sound cancellation and all that, I'm still talking to him and getting these jewels. He's a fucking wizard with sound.
Yeah.
So if I've known this guy for how long, why am I not going to pick his brain on how to make my podcast sound better?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a cheat code. I'm getting sound tips from one of the best sound engineers in the world. You know what I'm saying?
That's pretty
incredible.
incredible.
Salute to 40. Yeah.
That's pretty incredible, actually. And because before the show, anyways, we're not won't divulge the secrets publicly, but let's say there's about 12 different things that the vocals end up going through by the end process.
Oh yeah, my plug-in game is crazy. Trust me.
That's a valuable jewel to learn.
Yeah.
And I know you got to get going and stuff, so we will wrap it up. But there's one thing I know that Alex would probably like to hear about, and I don't know if you knew, but you do know he's done a song with Conway.
Oh, wow.
Have you?
I did.
Yeah.
He's a huge Griselda and Buffalo
machine.
hip hop fan. So
Yeah,
The
most of my
machine.
research now, so I'm in grad school now,
Mm-hmm.
and most of my research is focused on the kind of upstate New York scene and how it's communicated with Toronto over the years.
Yeah.
And with that, you have your Daniel Sons, Asen Eastwood,
Mm-hmm,
Cypher Soze, Future Wave, etc. But they're communicating with your Griseldas, your
Yes, they are.
Itos, your DeCloth, etc. How did you end up linking up with Conway, and when?
And salute to Asen Eastwood. I have 2 interviews with him, and he has like 2
He's
or
dope.
3 features with Conway. He mentioned in his
sure
interview.
has,
right?
yeah.
So salute to him.
A few
But-
older ones too, from like 2016.
Yeah. Mine was actually from around that time as well. It's
Okay.
on the Divided album EP, right? The last EP that I put out.
Yeah.
It's on there. Big salute to Big Tweez. He's the one who suggested him to me.
really, eh?
He said, "Yo, you ever hear this guy Conway the Machine, bro, and Benny the Butcher and those guys? Look, they're crazy, right? And they rap,
Yeah.
right?" I was like, "Yeah, let me hear it." And I was like, "Oh, these guys are dope."
Oh, so he put you onto them too.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh, these guys are dope." He's like, "Yo, maybe we should try to get a feature from one of these guys for this last thing." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
let's
that's
try
my
it."
shit,
Yeah,
man. It's
fuck.
so good. It's so
Right?
good.
He reached out. They responded. They said it was a G, American. I said, "Fine,
Yeah.
I got that."
Yeah.
Sent over the email for a G American. Maybe about a week later, I got my Conway verse back.
Shit. That's quick too.
Was it?
I was like, "This is cool." I was like, "Okay, cool," because for us as Canadian artists, just having an American artist, even though now I don't feel the same,
Yeah.
having an American artist at the time, oh my God, we got an American on the song,
Yeah.
right?
Somebody who's like popping.
So
to
I
their
was
own
cool with
degree.
that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, we got an American feature. Not many people know who he is, but hey, their fan base is growing.
yeah.
Tell me why before I got a chance to release the song, the announcement goes out, signed to Shady Records. Oh my God. I'm like, this is what I have in my hard drive? Oh, let's put this shit out now. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck yeah.
Was it ill? Was it a great verse?
It was a cool verse.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to. Oh, actually, I don't rap anymore, so I don't want another verse. But I want to interview, right? But on a scale of 1 to 10, to be honest, he gave me a 7, bro.
Okay.
He could have killed it a little bit more, but I don't blame
How
him,
was the
fam. Beat was good.
Okay.
Beat was
Was
cold.
it Griselda-esque?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a dope joint. You'd like it.
But I could also understand where he's coming from.
I'm surprised I
Yeah.
haven't heard it before.
You're doing mad verses for people. You're
Yeah.
just accepting. You're not. He didn't know me from a can of paint.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, let me review his song. Okay, I like you, so I'm gonna do a verse for you. You're just
Yeah.
like, send the bag, right? So he's probably in the studio cranking out 12 verses. Cat hat. Let's go.
Yeah.
Machine. Right? Send that one out. Send that one to Canada. Send that one to New Zealand. Like,
Yeah.
he's probably not repeating himself, but he's not gonna give you the fucking elbow in the verse. You know what I'm saying? It's not like when Benny walks into the room and now he's got to compete.
Yeah.
Right? He's just like, oh, let me send this Canadian guy a verse. I'll give him a 7 verse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I know if he heard the verse back, he wouldn't be like, oh, that's a 10, bro. You're tripping. He would have been like, yeah, I took it like that day, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. But salute to Conway, man.
But it's pretty cool too, you know. I mean, just like throughout, and I know like there's tons of your history that we haven't even touched on and stuff, and and I'd love to have you back another time. As well,
Yeah,
too,
we could do a
to
whole
brush up.
episode on just rappers I've sold quantities of weed to. You know what I'm saying? We could get into the half-pound Young
man.
Buck story one day.
Oh shit,
I got stories, bro.
that's a story. That's a story right there, eh?
I've sold weed to at least a dozen rappers.
Holy fuck. Well, I mean, if you want to get it.
No. We'll save it for another day.
Well, Friday, thank you very much, my man.
No, you're welcome.
Really appreciate you coming through. Appreciate
Thank you.
you giving your time to us to do this tonight. It was a great interview, very insightful, and congratulations, 300 episodes, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah, man. Woo! Yeah, man.
Hey.